The Utah Mammoth is sorta proud to present NASHCAST.
What the is a NASHCAST?
NASHCAST, the only hockey show on the planet. Hosted by a human speed bag, fourth line wannabe, healthy scratch, schnozzy moto, Tyson Nash.
Who the hell is Tyson Nash?
Never heard of him.
And the baritone with a brain, the velvet hammer, Mr. Silky, Tono Suave, the radio voice of your Utah Mammoth,
Code Blue!
Mike Folta.
Oh, Captain, my Captain!
NASHCAST begins now.
Ready for takeoff.
Here's Tyler Ganoush and Mickey Foghorn. Wait, what? Oh, here's Tyson Nash and Mike Folta.
Feeling good, Foltzy, feeling good. Obviously, I'm not sure if you played good or not, but it looks like you were on the golf course, my brother. This is our first show after the season now, after elimination. What a series it was, but obviously you wrote in the track somewhere. Must have been a goat track.
Yeah, you know, they mistook me for one of the groundskeepers. How much time I was spending in the shrubs today. But it's that time of year. It's golf season for the Utah Mammoth after. Hey, I was out with Matty McConnell today.
Oh, God help you.
And he played well. Like he's a much.
Who canceled though? Foltz, who canceled? Because Matt McConnell got the late call. He had to have got the late call. Hey, Matty, fill in for us.
So I'm out with Matty, and you know, it's pretty open where we were. Like there's another, you know, there's a green complex right next to our tee box, and Matty was great off the tee all day. But this particular hole, there's like this foursome that's kind of walking up to the green to our right. So on the hole adjacent to us, and Matty just hits this worm burner. Like I'm talking like a line drive through the infield right at these guys. and he doesn't give anything. There's no four call. There's no nothing. And I'm like, four. And this guy who's walking his cart, God bless him, this guy like literally has to do a matador like Olay maneuver, like holding onto his cart with his feet in the air to jump out of the way of the ball. It was pretty good agility by the guy, to be honest, because Matty hit one of those Kirklands. It was screaming. But,
he finally took his head cover off the driver, eh?
It was a blast. No, Matt's great to play with. So we had a good time. I got off the golf course. You got right off the set of Jersey Shore. Here we are. It's off-season time, Tyson. Like it's never like when you're in the fight, and you could answer this. You could talk to this more than I could because you played, obviously. But when you're in the moment, when you're in these playoff series, you think you have a chance to go and win the cup. You think you have a chance to win every night. And now we're a couple days removed from the Mammoth losing in 6 games to Vegas, and it's still kind of hard to convince yourself that it's a successful season, even though the team accomplished everything it set out to.
Yeah, and these interviews, all of it, right? I mean, when you're in the fight, you do. You believe it, right? You make the playoffs. What I love about some of the exit interviews that I heard, especially Logan Cooley, like he just threw it right out there. This is the new standard. And I love to hear that because the rebuild is over, and that's going to help Ryan Smith and Ashley, the ownership group, and obviously Bill Armstrong now bringing players in because players didn't want to come to Arizona. They didn't maybe want to come to Utah last year unless you couldn't get a contract anywhere else because they still knew this team is in rebuild. No one wants to come to rebuild. But I can tell you now, with the facilities that the Utah Mammoth have, where this team most importantly is at and going to be for the next, who knows, 10 years. I mean, this team is going to do some serious damage. Them, Montreal, the Anaheim Ducks, look out. Are you kidding me? The youth, the talent, and Utah is just getting started. You know that better than anyone. You called every single game this year. You know, the foundational pieces that they have, right? And every player now, Foltz, wants to come to Utah to win, right? Not just play in the NHL, but to win and to be a part of that crowd, this community that Ashley and Ryan Smith have built. I mean, this is something special. And I loved what Cooley said about this is the new standard.
And how about that from Logan Cooley too? Because I mean, a year ago today, we wouldn't be talking much about a Logan Cooley exit interview. But he's come such a long way as a speaker and just being comfortable in front of the camera, in front of reporters. And, he's growing up right in front of our eyes. But Tyson, a couple years ago, we saw the Seattle Kraken in their second year get to the playoffs and win a playoff series. But since then, they've faded away out of contention. They've missed the playoffs ever since they won that one playoff series. And now they're kind of in this mushy middle. How do you think that this team for Utah has to now maintain that standard that Cooley set, as opposed to doing what Seattle did, which was taking a step backwards after making it to the playoffs for the first time?
Because Seattle isn't built anywhere near what Utah is built for, right? That's why. I look at the roster in Seattle and I'm like, PU. Like literally, like some of the players that they have, it's incredible that they were in the fight this year. I'm like, how are they doing it? Like it honestly, right? And I think when you look at how Bill has built this team, and you got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, he refused to give up on any sort of prospect that was going to be a foundational piece. Like, I can't imagine how many general managers were out there going, give me Cooley, give me Gunther, give me T.J. Ginla, give me all the studs that they have coming down the pipeline. And he refused, right? And now you look at, and I can't wait to see how this evolves even that much more, because they do have so many prospects. And I think they realized that, okay, we got to the playoffs. This is the new standard, all the things. But they still need to add a big piece, right? I think they still need to add a stud. I mean, a stud defenseman and a stud forward centerman. You look at what Minnesota did, right? That is a move that maybe it doesn't happen this offseason. Maybe it doesn't happen next year. But a move like that has to happen eventually for Utah to really be in the top contenders in the National Hockey League for a Stanley Cup. Not to get to the playoffs, but for a Stanley Cup. And that is something that will set this team over the top. But Bill Armstrong refused. He's like, I will not mess and tinker with our future, to win today, right? Everything we're doing is for the future. And I'm excited. He's pulled all the right punches. He's made all the right moves. And obviously we know they got a great staff, just everything. All the pieces are in place, Foltz, to take that next step.
No, it's a great point. Utah in a much different spot than where that Seattle group was. But Tyson, you think about, we got some UFAs coming up. There's a lot of business to do in the offseason. We'll have the draft in late June. We'll have the free agency starts July 1. But you mentioned some of the prospects. You got T.J. Ginla, Cole Beaudoin. You got Gabe Smith, a fourth rounder who's looked really good in the queue. Caleb Denoye, fourth overall pick. Michael Robel was in the AHL as a really good goaltending prospect out of UMass. So you got all these young guys, and Tyson, we're going to get to a point here. I think we're probably at this point now where this training camp, we're expecting at least one of those guys to make the team, if not a couple of them. But how much, and this is maybe for summer episodes, we can get into this more, but how much do you have to leave room in the roster for these guys? Do they have to earn it at some point, right? I mean, how do you think Bill tries to balance that? We're just speculating here, but what's your take on it?
Yeah, and you know what? So the game has changed from obviously when I played. You needed man strength. You didn't bring young guys in at 18, 19, and 20 or 21 even, right? Like, I didn't make it until I was 24. And that's not saying a whole lot, but again, I think that young players are playing earlier now than ever. I mean, we're watching the playoffs right now. I'm watching Carolina as we speak against Philadelphia, and Steven Stamkos. Are you kidding me? Like, this guy is an absolute missile. He is a stud, right? You look at Utah. I mean, Utah's a prime example. Gunther, Cooley, they're a couple of their best players. They're 20. What's Cooley? 21. Gunther's 22, 22, 23. I mean, I always say it all the time. I was wetting the bed back then. I wasn't playing in the National Hockey League, making $10 million a year, lighting it up and being a guy that is counted on every single day. to win hockey games at the National Hockey League level. You counted on your older guys, right? And it was about bringing in veterans, guys with experience. And you still need that because those guys set the bar. They push the envelope. You heard Sergachev at the end of the year. I loved it. He goes, we lost because of experience. We have none. But now they have some, right? Now there's no excuses. Guys like Cooley, guys like Gunther, even for guys like Keller and Schmaltz that, that have, played a little bit. Now they really got a taste. And when you lose, you got to learn, right? And I think all those guys have now learned and they're going to be able to take that next step. But the youth in the league, I think you're seeing it on every single team. Those players are playing and they're playing pivotal roles. And I think that's going to be a balance for Bill Armstrong and Andre Tourney to make sure that they make room, they keep room for these young kids. Now, I am still a big believer in having these guys bake a little bit in the American Hockey League. That's a great league because the NHL is not a development league. It's not. That is for the American Hockey League. That's for the East Coast League. The NHL is for winning hockey games, right? And winning Stanley Cups, bottom line. So if those young kids can do that and help you immediately and not hurt you, then they're in a good spot. But a guy like TJ Gimla, for example, I got to think he's going to get a lot of games next year. I think he's going to make the team. So I guess time will tell, but this is a team that is in the driver's seat. No question about it. And if they do want to go and add a big, big piece, they're going to have to get rid of some of those guys, right? Package a few of them up, a few draft picks, which they have a lot of, and go and get, like Minnesota, what they did with Quinn Hughes.
Sometimes you got to give something to get something. Speaking of youth, Tyson, we just saw the youngest team in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Montreal Canadiens, advance past the Tampa Bay Lightning. Interesting kind of comparison to Utah, Tyson, just because Montreal is another team that has a lot of speed. They're a little bit smaller. They went to the playoffs last year, kind of got their nose bloodied in the first round by Washington, and now they're at a point where they're winning a playoff series against a really good Tampa Bay team. But what series here in round two interests you the most as we kind of make that transition in the Stanley Cup playoff?
A lot of them. I mean, I really do. I think Martin St. Louis, and spending some time with him this year, I went and had a couple beers with him when the Montreal Canadiens were in Utah. Myself, Mike Commodore, we sat down. Everything that comes out of this guy's mouth is absolutely brilliant. It really is. It's a teaching moment, and he always goes back and he goes, I coached today like I wish someone would have coached me, right? And literally everything this guy does, pushes the right buttons, it's dead on, right? He's a Hall of Famer in his own right.
Wall Street and
dude. And yeah, and the fact that he came in there and did that because I know. I got goosebumps, dude. And he's like, no, this isn't my team. The Montreal Canadiens, that's their team, right? I just kind of push them along. I just kind of like manage things here and there. I try to stay out of the locker room, but that was a moment I felt like I wanted to be a part of. And my God, was it absolutely brilliant. So I love the Montreal Canadiens. Who's that? Montreal Buffalo? I have Buffalo to win, though. I have Buffalo to win.
Wow.
I think Buffalo is going to do some serious damage. This is a Cinderella story in the making, in my mind. It really is. The other team I love is the Anaheim Ducks. The Anaheim Ducks now, I think, are a lot more like the Utah Mammoth, even more so than the Montreal Canadiens. I think all the skill sprinkled out throughout their lineup, some veterans, their D, how their blue line's built. I love the Ducks and Joel Quenneville. He was my coach in St. Louis. Another top-notch coach. He has the ability to manage personalities, right? He has a great system, but in order to manage these young personalities and older guys, that's a gift. That's a talent.
He's another fiery guy, isn't he? Like punching guys when you win, come in and like slapping guys in the back.
No, he's not.
No?
He loves to win. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But you think that big mustache, just how he looks, like he'd be kind of mean. He's not mean at all. He is except when he sat me out on my birthday in Edmonton, in my hometown. Joel, I hated you for that. But
not mean, but does he get fired up at wins?
Yeah, he loves it. He's passionate. He came in. He got the jacket the other day. They all had mustaches on. it's epic. I mean, I love that the guys are showing some personality, right? So the Ducks are going to be dangerous. Can't wait. I think they're going to dummy the Vegas Golden Knights. I really do. I think they're too fast. They're too skilled. But mind you, I mean, you look at Utah. I mean, we play a lot the same way, and they just kind of slow the game down, kind of lull you to sleep a little bit, and then boom, you know, some of their veteran guys been around a long time. They make you pay. So.
Well, Tyson, our guest on this episode is Pat Maroon, a guy who knows a thing or two about playoff hockey, won 3 straight Stanley Cups, 1 in St. Louis, 2 with the Tampa Bay Lightning. But Tyson, let's get to our guest because we recorded what I think might have been one of the funniest interviews that we've ever done. I don't know how much editing had to have been done with this. We were just slapping it around. We were having a good time. Pat Maroon was telling some hilarious stories. So I say let's get right to him, Nasher.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Pat Maroon, baby. 3 Stanley Cups, 1 in his hometown, back-to-back in Tampa Bay. Enjoy, everybody. All right, folks. It's playoff time, and we have one of the biggest resumes, maybe in playoff history. Certainly one of them. This guy stands 6'3", 230 pounds. It comes from the hard-hitting streets of St. Louis, Missouri. The hometown hero. He helped bring a cup to St. Louis. Then back-to-back cups with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He is the human freight train of playoff hockey. Put your mouth guards in. Strap the helmets on. We got Pat Maroon, the white whale, finally on the show. He stiffed us once.
No, I'm going to apologize for that. Sorry for that. My apologies. I want to say I'm 230 now.
No, what are we tipping the scales at, big boy? The big rig.
Oh, man, I was 249, the lightest I've been. I got up to like 270. So
hey, you're doing TV now. You can't fit into those old suits of yours, buddy.
Well, that was a problem. So I had to lose a ton of weight.
And so you had a big game this morning, I heard. You had to blow us off. You pushed us back a little bit to 4 o'clock Tampa time. But what was going on this morning?
Well, my daughter's last T-ball game. So I had to be there and take photos and videos for Mom. And then we had a nice little pizza party at this ice cream shop up the street. And, yeah, the kids had a blast. So last T-ball game, thank God that's over. Great.
What's the speech? What's the speech in the car, Patty?
The speech is just pay attention and not dig in the dirt. That's the biggest speech I can give her. Just focus. They always want to come into the dugout early. They don't want to wait for everyone to bat. They're playing in the dirt, so just focus for 3 innings. That's all you got to do. This will be,
and the ball's right there. The ball's right there.
Well, she did really good today. She made 4 infield plays today and threw it to first, so I was proud of her. So she did good. The last 3 bats, she did really good. So she loved it, though. There was like Nolan McDonough's daughter's on the team, so that's nice. Ryan McDonough's daughter, so it's where we live. There's a lot of kids that play on the same team, so it's always nice to see the fellows up on the diamond there.
Cracking beers.
Yeah.
Oranges for the kids, beers for the dads.
Exactly. I know that's a Friday night thing too.
What's in that container? What's in that solo cup?
There's a lot of Yetis up there, that's for sure.
Pat, you're covering the Tampa Montreal series. What's it like to go from like T-ball to a do or die game 6, soon to be a game 7? Like that's got to be 2 wildly opposite atmospheres.
Oh yeah, it's like the Bad News Bears with the kids, and then it's like then you got to go in and watch. And you know what the funny thing is, my son's in the midst of a playoff now. He's in the conference finals. They lost game 1 last night in the USHL. So like I was going back and forth last night to when my son's game and Tampa's game. And I don't want to admit this. I don't want to admit this on air, but after my son's game, I turned the Tampa game on. And I was watching it, and I fell asleep watching it, and I woke up, and I was like, oh, no. Oh, shit. Did they win or lose?
That's when I used to call games between the benches, this is no lie. That's probably why I'm not doing the job anymore. I would have my iPad tucked in the corner, and my son would be playing in the Western Hockey League, and I'd be watching his games while I'm calling the Coyote games.
I do that too now. I'll bring my laptop to work if during the year when I would do it, their games would start at 7 too, so it'd be nice. But on Saturdays, if there's a game, his game starts at 6, so I would just have my laptop up there in the corner and just watch his game during the whole first period and second period. So
we'll keep that quiet though.
You ever diagnose the wrong play, Pat? Like you're thinking of your son's play and you're watching Braden Point or something like that. And you start talking about the USHL.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, there was one time where it was actually at the NHL Network, and Jamison Coyle, I was like, "Do you mind if I have my laptop up here?" He's like, "Yeah, no problem." He's like, "I do it all the time." I was like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, just put it right here. They won't even see it." So I was watching, and I was getting asked a question. I was like getting thrown off guard there because I was like, "Oh, I should probably close this for a sec." But
hey, family first.
Family first.
You know what? You know what they say. All right, Patty, let's dive right into it. All right, you grew up in St. Louis. I got my oil painting here beside me. It's all nose, by the way. But what was that like? Like, there's no way growing up in St. Louis, like watching the Blues, all the stuff, and then you get traded there, and now you win a cup in your hometown. I mean, that's literally a pipe dream. That doesn't happen for any of us. What was that like?
Yeah, it was amazing. But I think the foundation that the Blues alumni built leading up to that, I think that's just, and the Blues players, Nash, just living there and then staying there. I don't know what it is about St. Louis, but people love it. And I think just the foundation they built for us kids to have an opportunity to go play in the NHL. And I think having Chaser and, Jeff Brown was my coach in AAA growing up. Basil McRae was always a part of it. Mike Zook. I mean, there's a list of people that you can go on, but in my era, it was like Jeff Brown, Kelly Chase, Basil McRae, those guys. And I think when you get the information in minor hockey, it's kind of fluff now. It's bullshit. It's what you want to hear now. It's like back then it was just like, stop being a bitch and work hard. And this is they had the old school mentality. I think it kind of helped me get through it. And I think they speak the truth. They don't hide behind anything. They're just going to tell you how it is. And I think our AAA team, our 88 team, I mean, we were stacked, and Jeff Brown and just laid into us all the time. And I think that just built the foundation of us of character people and pushing us to get to the next level. If that was juniors, in the NA, USHL, or go CHL. And I think when you have that and you have alumni that are there to help you get there, it really helped out. And I think playing in St. Louis and going to the Blues game, having season tickets. My dad had season tickets back in the old Checker Dome and the old arena. So, having those experiences and, watching them move over to the Kill Center and then watching them in 2000 win the President's Trophy. I mean, there's so many good teams to be a part of it.
I was there for that. Wow, you actually had to watch me.
Yeah, that was tough bounce. I thought that was the year. I thought the year of '95 when Gretzky came over, but Grant Fuhr got hurt, and then Roman Turk came in. I think it was Roman Turk.
Yep.
And he let that Game 7 goal from Stevie Eyes from the blue line, that slap shot coming across. But Gretzky turned it over, so I'm still mad about him.
Even the great one, eh? Yeah. Suck it, Gretz.
But even in 2000, when you guys won the President's Trophy, I forget who you guys lost to in the first round. I think it was Vancouver.
San Jose.
San Jose.
A goal from center ice, Owen Nolan.
Yeah, that's right. So I think just the teams that you guys had, and you guys were always around too. And I remember in playing Junior A for John Cooper, our team moved from Texarkana to St. Louis, and every Blues alumni or a current Blues player would come and sit in the corner if they had a day off, and Chaser would invite all of them to come over because they had the locker room in the back, the alumni room. They would have beers and they'd come watch, and they were always in a room. I just thought, like, seeing that, it was like, I want to be one of those guys. How do I become, an NHL player every day? This seems unbelievable what they're doing around the city and coming. Like, they didn't have to come to our games. They didn't have to come watch us or support us. And I was, Dan Hinote's a coach here now, and I would remember talking to Hino when he was playing in St. Louis, and he would come to our games. So I think just that foundation, and then having an opportunity to come home was just a dream come true of mine. I always wanted to play for the Blues growing up. It was always been a goal of mine, and I think when you have that opportunity to go home, I know there's a lot of money. Arizona offered me a 2-year deal. And then I was like, you know what? St. Louis had it, and then New Jersey had a 1-year deal, and then Philly was rumbling. And I really liked Rick Tocchet. I liked what he had to say on the phone. I just thought at that time, if I was going to take a 2-year or 1-year deal, I had to go to a winning pedigree team at that time. Nothing against Arizona or Jersey. I know we just made the playoffs in Jersey. I was just leaving there, but it was just one of those things where if I'm going to take risk, I would rather take risk in my hometown to be closer to my son, be with him, take him to school every day, and, watch him play hockey, go to hockey practices when I have time, and then I had an opportunity to put the Blues jersey on, which was a dream come true of mine, and to start the year we had, and then to finish the year we had was, I deleted my social media because I thought I was going to get booed out of there, but, it was just, it was one of those years where I started off horrible, and then I came through, but I think it was just an awesome experience to be a part of it, bringing the first Stanley Cup home. And like I said, and it just comes full circle again. The alumni are back there supporting. They didn't have to do that, and making them feel like they were a part of it too, because there were so many great teams before us that were so close. And it just felt like it was one big family when we won the Stanley Cup. It felt like everyone was a part of it, no matter who it was. If you were watching, if you're an old alumni, obviously the fans and everything a part of it. So it was a really good, really, really fun experience to be back. I wish I would have played one more year there, but
it turned out all right for you.
Yeah, yeah, it did. But it came full circle with all that stuff.
How is it like, I thought Brett Hall won the cup.
Yeah.
Like, I thought Kelly Chase won the cup. Bob, but you're right. Like, to see those guys up on the stage, right alongside, shoulder to shoulder with you guys, holding the cup, drinking out of the cup. I mean, I had goosebumps. I wanted to be there so bad, but there was already so many other alumni there that they were like, Nasher, we got no room in the suite. Like, it's to the brim. We're out of beer. There's no more hydrating. Brett Hall just drank it all. So I'm sorry, but how cool was that, watching guys like Hully literally passing the cup to Brett Hall?
Well, it was awesome because, like I said before, it's just they were always supporting us. Like in minor hockey, they were always, at practices, skating around or taking the time to come shake our hands. And for me, the best one was when Brett Hall was on the glass. I thought that was with his little Brett Hall shirt he had on. He's flicking off the other team. It was just unbelievable. But that's what it's all about. And Hawley's, he's won, multiple cups. He's been there. But I'm assuming if you ask Brett Hall now, who would you rather have a cup with St. Louis? I think he would. I don't know. That's maybe he would say yeah, but you can tell. But Gretzky still has a house there. Hawley always goes back. Like, these guys still love it there, and I guarantee they would say I would love to win a cup with St. Louis, because I know the Blues fans are passionate. I know there was a big gap where the fans weren't that good or loyal, but back in the day they were loyal. And they started to get good, but just having those guys around, and we wanted to make sure they were a part of it because they built the foundation leading up to that. They built the alumni, and they built everything what the Blues organization's about. So it was great to be a part of it, and you get to celebrate with some legends.
What were you saying? Brett Hull was on the glass at your games, flipping off the other team? Like
Yeah, he was there.
teenagers.
Tequila soda in hand, just ripping it. I mean, his speech was awesome. I think it said "We want Blues" or something. I don't know what he said, but he was.
He doesn't know what he said.
No, he did not.
So, Pat, when you were coming up, like you spent basically 5 years in the American Hockey League before you became a full-time NHLer. And I know you've told your story before about kind of breaking into the NHL, but when you first get to pro hockey and with the Phantoms in the AHL, like what was that like, and how confident were you that you could make it to the National Hockey League at that point?
Yeah, I mean, you know, as a young kid, you want to make it to the NHL. And my dad, it's funny, my dad played soccer back in the day, so we didn't really have a hockey background, right? My two older brothers played, but they played junior B in high school hockey. They didn't really get that far. And I remember signing I was going to commit to Fair State, but I was going to OHL. I'm getting off track here, but this leads into my story. Mark Hunter comes down, we go sit at Applebee's, and he throws out this packet. He's like, your son can have, you know, after 4 years, if he doesn't make it to the NHL or whatever, he is a full ride to anywhere he wants. We'll pay for his college. My dad goes, my son's not going to the NHL, and he's not going to London. So I don't know why you keep telling him that. He's like, your son has an opportunity to come here. He just got, you know, he just got drafted. Like, we can get him to the NHL. My dad's like, he's not going to the NHL. But I had convinced my dad that I was going to go to London because he's like, you got to go get a college education. Hockey's not going to be forever. And so, yeah, when I signed my NHL deal, I didn't know nothing a little bit. You know, I got called up at the end of the OHL year, played 2 games under Craig Berube. And, you know, I didn't know. I wanted just to play hockey. That's all I wanted to do. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. Especially at the pro level. You know, I did really well in juniors points wise. I didn't know if I was going to be like a 4th line guy or just a bruiser, right? And, you know, I ended up being really good minor league hockey player. And, you know, Philly had its ups and downs. I got sent home my 3rd year, my entry level contract. So that was a writing on the wall for me. So I thought that was like, for me at that time, I was like, all right, I'm done. 1, they won't send me to the coast. 2, they just sent me home. 3, I try to go over to Europe, get my contract done. They wouldn't do that either. So I was just waiting and seeing, you know, my agent told me to go East Coast somewhere. So I went to Jersey because my mom's from New Jersey. And I sat there and I'm like, man, I have a 3-year-old son at home. My career's over. I have no idea where I'm going to go. They won't trade me. They won't buy me out. They won't do anything. They won't let me go to the coast. I was trying everything. And so I was like, I'm never making it to the NHL. This is over. Like, I don't think I'm getting an American League deal. So that happened. They traded me to Anaheim, and it was a blessing. You know, I got to Anaheim, and when Trent Yanni took over, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. He, you know, I was neck and neck that year in leading scoring with Corey Conacher. And he looked at me, he's like, I know you can put up numbers. He's like, but you're going to have to start fighting if you want to play in the NHL. And then I went from like 4 to 5 fights to like 10 to 11 fights in the American League. And then I got called up. That year I was doing really well points-wise, played 2 games under Randy Carlisle. And then Bruce Boudreau came in and took over. Lockout year hit. And then Bruce was like, hey, I'm going to take you to main camp. I was like, okay. And then Trent Yanni really had my back. He's pulling Bob Murray. He was just like, this kid has it. He can fight. He can stick up for your teammates. He can also play the game. Just find a way to get him there. And then I ended up playing 13 games that year. And I just started fighting. And then the rest was history. I mean, obviously you don't want to fight ever. Or you kind of want to be the guy and, you know, score. But I was going to do whatever it took to get to that NHL level. I did everything I can in the American League. Now it was just about what am I going to do to stay, not just get a cup of coffee. And fighting was the only thing on my mind. if I wanted to stay.
Whew, gross. That's gross. So take us back then to that St. Louis year. I mean, that story is incredible. That was a Cinderella story. Berube comes in. You guys are dead last. What shifted? Like, what shifted in that locker room? I know the song's a big story. I think that happened in Philadelphia. But what shifted with that team? And obviously, you guys started to believe.
We had it away from the rink. Like, we were so fucking close. Like, there was nothing like bad in our room. We just couldn't figure it out. And nothing against Mike Yo, just maybe the message wasn't getting across. Mm-hmm. And we didn't really have an all-star. I mean, we did have Tarasenko and O'Reilly, but we didn't have like the elite players to win a Stanley Cup or like a game changer in that time, right? We just had a heavy, grindy team that can, wear you down. We just weren't playing that to those strengths, and everyone was kind of getting moved around at that time. Like, they were trying to find something, right? And I think the biggest thing, when Berube took over, he took off the standings in our locker room. No video the first day. And he literally looked at us and he goes, if no one wants to play hard, no one's playing. So you guys make that choice. He goes, I'm going to play guys who want to play the right way and play hard and are willing to do it. And if you don't want to play that way, then we have other guys that will play for you. And, and I'm a firm believer in that. We had it. Like, we had the chemistry away from the rink. It was just in the locker room. It was just like, how can we build that? And I'm a firm believer in, like, when you have chemistry in the room, it just translates onto the ice. I think with young guys, older guys, bringing everyone together. And I think Berube set that example. He's like, we're a meat and potatoes team. Until we figure that out, then we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And we had to set the example. And then we started finding lines. Then we got lines into place. And then everything kind of just started rolling of playing the right way, playing to our identity, which was a huge thing. Dumping pucks in, forechecking, wearing the opposition down, going at them full steam, and then learning how to defend. Because we had Petro, we had Parenko, we had Bouwmeester, we had Joel Edmondson, we had Vince Dunn. We had, our D back there were huge besides Vince Dunn. We had Bortuzzo. Like, we were heavy. So it's just like, now we just got to learn how to defend now, lean on their team, break up plays as much as possible and, make it hard. And we just played. We just dumped pucks in and we just went to work. And we'd be under distress a little bit at times, but we never really, it's bend, don't break. And we just waited. And with Jordan Binnington, I mean, that story is a Cinderella story itself. Mm-hmm. Him coming into Philly, shutting Philly out 3-0, and then all of a sudden, Berube had him in Chicago for the Wolves. So it's like, but I think Chad Johnson got put on waivers, got picked up by Anaheim. Billy Husso rolled his ankle at the time, so they needed someone to call up. So he backed up Jake Allen, but it was a back-to-back. So Chief was like, well, I'm just going to play him. We're already in last place. And he played him, won 3-0. And then the rest was history. And then he kind of just took off.
He's got his own personality too. Like we've come to know Jordan Binnington ever since that season.
Tries to fight everybody. Yeah. He's skinny little guy.
He's stealing pucks from Ovechkin. Like what do you tell people about Jordan Binnington when they ask you about him?
You'd love him. You'd love him. He's got like that swagger to him, that like he's confident, like he's good, like he's confident, like, I got your guys' back kind of swagger, like, and then he'll kind of say it too in the media. He just has that, but he's a gamer. I think he's a competitor. He wants to win, and I think he gets frustrated. I know after that cup run, he had a really good year the following year, and then it's kind of dipped a little bit for him, but he just wants to win, and he's got that quiet cockiness, swagger to him that like kind of creeps into the room, then like helps the other guys too. And I love it. I think, it shows emotion in the game. I think what he does, it's just like his competitiveness kind of comes out a little bit. And I know some people kind of hate it, like what he does, like when he hit the puck in his pants with Ovi, and
I loved it.
I think we need more in that game, more in the game like that, because it's just, I know some players are like, what's he doing? I'm like, dude, that's hilarious to me. Well, how do you not think that's funny?
Especially nowadays,
Yeah.
right? Like, can you imagine? Like, you just have your way with guys. Like, the league's tough-ish, but not like back when you started, right?
No, it's not. It's not even close. So, I mean, Jordan. I mean, that's what he does. That's the shit he does.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell us about the song. How did the
yeah.
song start
Gloria,
in Philly?
yeah. So there was a
Like, play Gloria. Like, I looked for every Blues game. I played that song for 2 summers straight on my boat. Just blared it, right? Over the whole lake. Everyone's like, can you shut that thing off? I'm like, no way, man. That's the Blues, baby.
Well, with our Blues team, it would always be like drop the bags, go for beers, right? And then like pretty much all 20 guys would show up. And then guys would go their separate ways and go to dinner, or some would stay at that same bar stool and drink until maybe whatever. And we were already on the road, so we're like, let's just change it up a bit. And we drank. And I just remember some guys went their separate ways. I know this guy named Larry Flowers, he's a Philly guy. There was an Eagles playoff game going on, and like where he grew up, downtown Philly, in like this little, I don't know, little street, there's like a bar. And it's a neighborhood bar, but it's like members only. And he's like, why don't some of the guys go there? And I think it was like Steiner, Borch, Schwartzy, Bobo. There's a couple guys that went. Some other guys were drinking somewhere else watching the game. And they went there and they played Gloria after the Eagles kicked that field goal to win. And I guess Steiner was like, this needs to come back to our room and start playing it. That's our new win song. And then that kind of just took off. So yeah, this small town in Philly. So that's why Larry Flowers was at our parade with his Flowers jersey on, because I guess he was a part of it. But yeah, by that time though, we were so like, we got to change something up. Like maybe we just stay out all night, drink, and let it loose. And I think, there was football going on. The city was buzzing in Philly. Guys that knew Larry went that way. Guys that didn't know Larry went this way. And then we all showed up in the morning, and that's the story that came about. And then when we won, no one knew except the guys that were at that little members bar in the middle of Philly in the neighborhood. And they played that Gloria song, and just people went nuts, and then it was over after that. And I think we rang off. I don't know if it was that time. We kind of went like 1-1 still, lost 1, 1-2, lost 1, and then we rang off that 11 in a row.
Wow. Now, you mentioned a guy right there, Alexander Steen, longtime Blue, and now he's getting ready to take over as the general manager. So when you played alongside the guy, did you see those GM qualities?
Yeah, he was Mr. Dad.
Time to go home, boys. Let's go.
He was the one taking care of everyone. If it was rookie party, taking guys home, coming back. If guys were kind of, going through it a little bit, he was the first person though. He was really good at like sensing stuff, right? If guys were down, he'd pull them aside just between them, talk to them, make them feel, good. And that's why he was such a good leader, and you just always saw it. I sat next to him on the plane. We played cards together, and you just always saw it in him. Like, he loved the game. He loves the Blues organization. He represents it better than anyone I know. And, he was a guy that a lot of guys leaned on in that locker room. I know Petro was a really good leader. He was a really good captain, but Steiner just had that, like, he read a room really well by seeing guys, like, how they're feeling, what's their emotions like, how are you walking into the rink. He made sure everyone was okay, checked in on everyone, made sure guys got together, team parties, like, it was unbelievable. But, I'm really happy for him. I think he's going to do a great job in St. Louis. Like I said before, he loves the Blues organization. He's going to represent the Blues as best he can. I know he wants to bring a Stanley Cup back sooner than later. Let's just say that. And I remember, Steiner always said we were going to win a Stanley Cup on the road. And we lose Game 6 at home. And I sit right next to him. And we're getting on the plane. We're putting our stuff down. And we're flying to Boston for Game 7. Leans over to me. And he looks at Bosey and O'Reilly's across. He goes, I told you, boys. Told you we were going to win the Stanley Cup. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, I told you we were going to win the Stanley Cup on the road. And we're all just like, whoa. Whoa. All right.
Goosebumps, man. Goosebumps.
It was like, and it kind of sunk in because we were kind of a road team. We all hung out together, right? So like, we loved our beers. That team, I don't think I've ever been on a team that drank as much as that team, but
Patty, that goes back to the alumni, right?
Yeah.
Like they taught you that. Like that was our thing back in the day, I thought. Like it was mandatory. After practice, you had Keith Kachuk, we had a place called Q's, and we had to go there at least for one beer. And then you could leave after, but you had to go for at least one beer after every single practice. And I swear to God, that's what brings a team together. Like, do the guys do that anymore?
I would hope. Our Tampa team was kind of like that too, because I learned from like O'Reilly, Steiner, and those guys of like bringing everyone together. And by the end of it, we're leaving the practice rink in the mills, and we're stopping for beers before we get on the plane. So it's like, I just think that it builds character, right? And then when people start hearing about it, they start laughing. What are you laughing about? You'll be right there soon enough. And then sure as shit, they'll be right behind us. Like, might take them a few days, but next road trip they're riding along with us. So, but yeah, it starts with alumni. I think what they built too, and going to OB Clark, seeing them there after games, and having them around. I just, sitting there at OB's till 3 a.m, with the alumni holding court. You're laughing your ass off. Your abs hurt, your jaw hurts. So I think, because I still believe they tell the best stories. I don't think there's better stories than the alumni. We don't have stories.
That's the NASHCAST. That's the NASHCAST, baby. That's where this thing came from. Basically, Chaser, right? He's like, you got to do this. And Ryan Smith would talk to Chaser, and he's like, all this stuff we do after golf now, right? You sit around. There's 4 guys, then there's 10 guys, and the stories are just flying, right? And that's honestly how this whole thing started for us, at least.
And I think the biggest thing that I take away from the alumni and like the old school guys that played back in the day in like the 90s and 2000s and the 80s, they remember everyone's name. Like it's fucking insane to me, like how they know everyone's name. Like I'm like, Jesus, like how do you guys like? They know every story. They know everyone's name. Someone crosses by them. They're like, oh, hey, what's going on, Johnny? I'm like, holy shit, how do you know that guy? You probably just met him like a month ago. And I think that's really cool, too. It's like a unique way that, you guys didn't have phones back then. We're so buried in our phones now that, like, you kind of get lost and you put his name after the conversation in your phone and then you forget about it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a cool way of looking at it because, like, obviously Wayne talks to everyone and listen to him talk, and he remembers everyone's name. It's insane to me.
Well, Pat, we're in the storytelling business in a sense. On the broadcast side, I know you're dipping into that now as well. Who have you been looking up to and trying to emulate now that you're in the studio and on camera, but not wearing a helmet anymore?
I'm just trying to be myself, I guess. I watch a little bit. I don't like watching myself. I know I'm supposed to, but it's really tough. NHL Network's completely different. I think if you're on like a national broadcast panel, you can kind of feel in who you're with, who you're working with. I think that's the whole, too, the chemistry of feeding off each other, letting it kind of fly a little bit. NHL Network's been great. it's just a lot of hockey, right? So you got to have a lot of knowledge. You're talking a lot. You try to be yourself a little bit. But yeah, I just try to be myself a little. Just try to be myself. I'm learning from the Tampa analyst side. A lot of practice there has helped me. Go back to the NHL Network has really helped me too. So obviously NHL Network is a little bigger stage than what we're doing here. So I just try to, like, as much as I can, just get the reps in Tampa and learn and practice and study and watch. You know, I try to watch the TNT panel a lot of what, like, Biz does, and, you know, Anson and Hank. ESPN too. I just try to see what they kind of do and what are they doing. You know, when are they delivering the funny things? You know, when are they pulling back? Like, it's all about delivery. It's all about timing, delivery, and how the conversation is kind of building up to. So that takes time, though. I got to tell you, though, it's been hard. It's not easy. You know, I've been doing a lot of radio. I love the radio. I think being on the color of radio has been great, because I think you guys can speak on that. Is you're seeing it, you're talking about it live instead of, like, waiting for intermission to talk about it. You know, and I think you see the game. So I love doing the radio, of just, like, talking points. And radio is good because, like, you have to explain to the radio what the hell's going on. And I kind of like. Yeah, I kind of like
Sometimes I have
that.
to explain to Tyson what the hell's going on.
So, Patty, you win in St. Louis, you go to Tampa, you win back-to-back cups under John Cooper. Just talk about your relationship with John and really just those Tampa teams and how different they were from St. Louis to Tampa, because they were very different, because there you had the superstars.
Coop, I had him 2 years of juniors. We won together in St. Louis. And he's been trying to get me to Tampa for a long time, but Stevie Y would never pull the trigger. And then finally, after St. Louis, we won. I couldn't get a deal. I don't know why. I was like, what's going on? You know, St. Louis is rumbling around. Army was just like, hey, we need to sign Sanford, Sundquist, and all these guys, and Barbashev. We need to lock these guys up long term. Let me get them on the books first, and then we can go to you. It's like, okay, no problem. And we were trying everything in our power to go anywhere at that time. And then Coop called. He's like, what's going on? Why haven't you signed? I was like, I don't know. My agent said teams are waiting to kind of see what's going to happen. He's like, you just won a Stanley Cup. I was like, no shit. I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? And he goes, all right, I'll call you back. This is like the end of August, mid-August. And yeah, he called back. He's like, Julian Breezewell is going to call you. I said, okay. He called me. Then my agent called me back, and they offered me a deal, which was great. So me and Coop have a really great relationship, and both sides, love, hate. Sometimes we can get in a fuck you match a couple times, but we always go back to the old, like, you know, I feel like I grew up with him. You know, he was there for my son's delivery. I was, you know, his twins were there. Well, this was right after we won in juniors. Anthony was born that September, and his twins were being born that year too. And
wow,
he would, you know, I have a picture of Coop holding Anthony when he was like brand new baby in the hospital. So we
smoking cigars.
So we have a really good relationship. We have a really good work relationship. I think, you know, towards the end, but, you know, I knew why I was going there, you know, help with leadership, you know, kind of say it how it is. Don't hide behind anything. Challenge the older guys of being better, how to play the right way. And I kind of just went in there and did that. And, you know, they kept talking about Columbus. And I was like, fuck you guys. Like, we're not done. We're done with Columbus. That's in the past. Like, we got to focus on what we can control, and that's this year right now. It's like, and they just kept talking about it. And finally, I was just like, guys, please. It's not good. I don't know why it keeps creeping in. It's not good. Like, you guys got swept. It's over. It's the same team coming back. It's the same coaching staff. No one has left. same management, move on, let's just go. And then we went to Sweden that year, and that kind of helped a lot. I think personality-wise, bringing in everyone, bringing in the Russian Sergachev and Kuch and Vasi. It's funny, we land in Sweden, we get to this bar to watch Sunday Night Football. All the guys are over here and all the Russians are over here. So I go sit with the Russians, and we just start slamming beers.
No vodka. No Russian gas.
No, and then we start playing the finger game. Where you lift your finger up just to like get the booze flowing and get the guys going a bit. And then everyone comes around, and then it was wrestler's history. And then actually Steiner set up that night for us to go to this bar. And, I think that really kind of brought the team together, team chemistry of like, hey, if we're going to win, we need everyone in the fight. No one's sitting alone. No one's, we can't have that over here. You can't have that over here. We're in this together. Like, because everyone's a great person. Everyone's a great dude. You just got to get to know them and like invite them. And I think that was the biggest thing. And then we kind of just came together. It reminded me of St. Louis. We would drop the bags, go for beers, and guys started getting along. And, anytime we had an opportunity in 2 days in the city, we would have a team party. And I think the person.
I love this. Everything's a party.
Yeah.
Hey, are you getting the common denominator here, Foltz?
So I think, and then personalities start coming out. Then, Kuch starts to have fun. Vasi starts to have fun. Then they start Sergey. Then they start chirping guys. And then, it's great. And I think that's what you need. You need guys to be comfortable, especially in uncomfortable situations. So, and I think that's the biggest thing that led to that. And then the COVID happened, which sucked. But we went to training camp, and Coop's like, we're not coming home unless it's the Stanley Cup in our hands. So we got to go in and buy in. A lot of teams are not going to want to buy in. And I just remember, like, Boston was like, get us out of here. Teams were like, get us out of here. Tuukka Rask left early. Guys were leaving early. And they're like, these guys don't want to be here. So it's like, let's just go win it. We just had to get to Edmonton. That was the biggest thing. We had to win our first 2 rounds. We played Columbus, 5 overtime game. I think that was a sign of relief. Braden Point scoring that overtime goal in game 1. That was like, thank God. We finally beat these guys. Now the stress is kind of off everyone because they had their number, right? And I think it's just winning that game kind of helped kind of free up everything as the players. And the rest was history. We just kind of took it to everyone. We beat, I think, Columbus in 4-1. We beat Boston 4-1, and then Long Island 4-2, and then Dallas 4-2. But Braden Point, Kuch, and Vasi, Hedman, we lost Stammer that year. But he was in the bubble. He left the bubble, then he came back. And then he played that one game against Dallas. He scored that goal. There's just so many, I guess, emotions throughout the year of, like, inspiration, too, of, like, what Stammer was going through and a lot of people. And, but, yeah, it was great. The camaraderie was great. The guys believed, and that was the biggest thing. And the best part of that whole thing, because I know those guys have been there for such a long time, there's no families. There might have been 1 or 2 dads, Killorn and Joseph's, and that was it. But watching Stammer come and watching all the guys come in the room with the cup was like a sign of relief. That was the coolest part, just being just the guys. And I think watching that was just like, that was fucking awesome. Cigarettes, fucking cigars. I don't know how we got the cigarettes in the bubble or the cigars, but we were smoking in the Edmonton's visiting locker room with cigarettes, fucking cigars.
Passing them around during COVID. I love it. Suck it.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the Russians, and a guy who's become a huge piece here in Utah is Mikhail Sergachev. Do you have any like stories from Sergey's first few years in the NHL that you remember on those cup winning teams?
Sergey, oh man, Sergey's a
he
great
seems
guy,
like a
by
pretty
the way.
reserved guy. What's that?
He is a reserved guy. He kind of, but I mean, with his outfits though, you never know. Um,
Was he doing
so-
that back then?
Yeah, he would wear these funky suits a little bit, I guess, but now there's no dress code, so who knows what he's pulling out of his closet these days.
It's a big closet.
He was in a
Yeah.
GQ. He was in a GQ shoot, I think, or was on like in a GQ article.
Really?
Yeah, it might have been Russian GQ, but it still counts, right?
No, I think Sergey was just. I'm trying to think of funny stories. He kind of kept to himself a little bit. He hung out with the boys a lot. He's a great guy, great teammate. But I think he learned from like Hetty. Like, when I first got there, maybe he wasn't on the PK, and then all of a sudden he's like eating pucks, blocking shots, defending very well, sacrificing his body, getting in fights with Shea Weber. Like, it's just a complete 180, and I think that he kind of took off from there. I think it was the belief system, because listen, when you're riding passenger seat to Hedman, which is riding shotgun, I think you don't get that same playing time, but I think he had to learn how to defend. He had to learn to have a good stick, playing good minutes, and I think he learned that. And then he started playing 20 minutes a night, 21 minutes a night, and he earned it. And I think that's, I know that trade was whatever, but I think both sides kind of worked out. J.J. Moser turned into a heck of a player. I don't think I realized, or maybe the coaching staff realized, how good J.J. Moser was. And then Sergachev now gets to go not only play first unit power play, PK, play against the best lines. Now he gets to do all that, and he deserved that. When you're.
Did you know he had it in him to do that?
Yeah, once he showed that. He showed that character of like willingness of doing it and blocking shots, learning how to defend. Obviously we all know his offensive ability and what he brings and how he can, lug the puck up the ice, and he's kind of casual with it, just very smooth. I knew it. Once he started like blossoming into that player, like it started in the bubble, it started taking off for him, and then the following year even more. So it's just hard when you're behind Hedman, right? You're just not going to get that same result. You're not going to get the minute and a half power play. You're going to get the 30 seconds, the 25, bullshit power play that they just threw the puck down. So the time you actually enter in the zone, you probably get 10 seconds, right? So
Yeah.
I think he found a way to get it done, and he was fucking awesome for us. In those cup runs, he was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So, Patty, you've won 3 cups. There's literally nothing you haven't seen, done. And I mean, you played in so many Game 7s. I'm a complete loser. I've lost every Game 7 that I've ever played in. I think there was three or four of them. But, like, bring us into the mind. Bring us into the fear factor. What are you thinking? Because, like, not only you were fighting, but you were scoring in some of those big games as well. Like, what are you thinking? The pressure. We just got eliminated in a Game 6 elimination game. You're getting ready to start one in Tampa against the Montreal Canadiens. But what are those games like?
I think for me, Tice, I think the biggest thing, you're probably going to laugh at this. I felt very calm in those situations because, like, the pressure wasn't on me so much as, like, the top guys. So, like, I was calm, cool, collective. I had to be calm, like, especially in St. Louis, like, guys were kind of nervous, and I came into the room and I was fucking laughing. And I remember, I forget, was it Bozy, because he was my line mate. Maybe it was Bozy, yeah. He was like, fucking chill. I was like, you guys are all fucking tight, relax. Like, it's just a fucking game. It's another game. There's nothing we can do. Like, Game 7, I just always felt like that. Like, I never really had the pressure to, like, go out there and, like, do anything, right? Like, I just knew I had to do my job, is not get scored on, get pucks in, lay big hits, hold on to pucks. If I was 30 seconds, 40 seconds in their zone and I changed, I did my job, right? I didn't have to go score the big goal. My job, and I felt like, was to calm everyone down in Game 7. Like, get the nerves out of the room, make everyone laugh, make everyone feel like the pressure's off everyone, and just feel like a calm way. And I'm throwing out jokes in Game 7, like, fuck, pack barn tonight, boys. We got to do this, eh? A couple beers after. You never know what's going to happen, right? So it's just like, you got to find a way to do that where it's like, guys are just like, now they can settle back a little bit, right? And Chief did a really good job of that too. Chief was more like relaxed in that sense too. But I think it's just taking the pressure off the big guns of like, sent them in the moment. It's like, okay, it's just a hockey game. Let's just go play, you know? And that's why I always felt that way. And I'll never forget, this fucking song always played in San Jose. And we went out for Game 7 when I scored. It was me, Robert Thomas, and Bozak. And we always did this face-off play, which we ended up scoring on finally. And I looked at Tomer and Bozy. I had them dying at the face-off dot. I looked at them. I said, "Boys, our fucking song's playing." Because every time we heard the song, we would score a goal. It's fucking weird, especially in San Jose. And they're like, "It's double overtime." I'm like, "Boys, our song's playing." I start singing it, and they're like, "Hey, we're doing this face-off play." And I was like, "All right." I was like, "But our song's playing, boys." And I start singing. They're like, they start dying laughing at the face-off dot. If you zoom in on our face, you can see it. And we ended up scoring, but that was just like a funny moment for me. Is just like, fuck, whatever, you know, like, we're still playing a hockey game, you know. At the end of the day, like, you're still finding a way to like loosen guys up a bit. But yeah, we just try to be, I guess, myself, and try not to show them I was nervous at times or scared. I think that's how I usually handled it. I never really put the pressure on myself to like go out there and succeed or score a big goal. I was willing to do the little things. I hoped our team would win. And if that opportunity came, I wasn't going to miss on that. And that's how I always went about things.
That's a great way to go through life. Patty, this has been awesome. Tyson, what else do you have for him here?
I got one more. And I love to ask the tough guys, and I know you were more than a tough guy, but if you had one last fight, Patty, who would you want to just beat the absolute wheels off again?
Oh.
I know there's a lot of them.
Oh, man. Who would I want to beat up? Man. Like who I fought or anyone?
Like, you just love to pound this guy, and you fought him 2 or 3 times. You want one more round with him, or maybe you lost, and you're like, I had him. I know I can beat this guy.
Jack-eyed. I would want him bad. Both my fights I had against him were fucking horrible. And he did like the old razor roof in Montreal, and then I fought him when I was in Chicago, and I just always got a bad grip on him, and it still pisses me off to this day because I get chirped now from like the Montreal fans because they're playing Tampa. So my Twitter feed's like me with my head down and him hitting me, and like, so I would love to fight him again. That's one
great.
guy. That's one guy I'd really want to fight. But there's like Montour is a guy that like always chirped me, and I took a suspension on him. I'm sure he's a really good guy, and that's one guy I would love to rip his head off. We had really good battles. We had really good.
You are an absolute beauty.
We had really good battles, but that was a guy that he drove me fucking nuts. Always chirped me from the bench, and then I would get out there and he's still yapping. And I was like, Monty, I'm gonna literally. I chased him around the ice, and then they suspended me. But I think that's one guy I would love just to drop my gloves with and just. But listen. That's a terrible matchup. We all know that, but. Good for him, though. He earned his payday. He won a Stanley Cup. He's a hell of a player. He's really good at what he does of, like, chirping. But that's one guy I'd love to rip his head off. But
was there one thing he said that got under your skin?
No, he was just always yapping. Just always yapping. It's like, fuck. He was just always yapping from the bench. The old ones, like, you're fat, you're slow. What are you doing still playing in this league? How are you still playing in this league? Like, just always you're not going to play against me. Why are you out here? Oh, just like, but it wasn't just once. It was just like all the time. He wouldn't shut up in 3 periods, and I'm like, God damn, I'm gonna kill this kid. But it's one of those moments where you can't, because it's like, if I take a penalty, then we go on, you know. So it's like,
Patty, we got to thank you. My favorite part of the job is research and following your journey. And my God, what a journey! What a resume, buddy! You should be so proud. Thank you for the time, as always. Love seeing you at NHL Network. Hopefully, we get to work together here real soon. But thanks for the time, man, and good luck to your Tampa Bay Lightning.
no, thank you guys. Sorry I missed you. That was my fault. I'll take full responsibility for that. So,
Yeah, and look out for Montour. Just check corners and stuff like that.
yeah.
Thanks, Matt.
I'm gonna
You're the
see him
best,
one
buddy.
of these days in the hallway. That's for sure.
Thanks, man.
All right, thanks,
Yeah.
Patty.
Yeah, hope to see you guys soon.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
Oh, we're back. There you go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. F-bombs were flying. I don't know how much we had to edit this, but our editing crew was busy. But what I love, Foltz, and I think you did too, is just his love for the game and love for camaraderie and love for his friends, his teammates, and how you build a tight group, how you build a winning team, right? And it all starts with lunches and dinners and cocktails, staying hydrated, right? That seemed like that was the moral of the story for every story that Pat Maroon told. So, and you can't argue with him. The guy's won 3 Stanley Cups, played almost well over 800 games, played 5 years. I think you touched on that. 5 years in the American Hockey League, in the minors. How he met, how his relationship, started with John Cooper back in St. Charles, I believe, in St. Louis, when John Cooper got into the business, right? As coming from a lawyer, then being a head coach, Kelly Chase owning the hockey team there, giving him his start. And then obviously John Cooper, I think, should win the Jack Adams trophy this year. He's never won one, which is an absolute head scratcher. But just how he got started, and now obviously doing great things in Tampa Bay. That was just eliminated by the Montreal Canadiens, by the way. But just some unreal stories, my man.
He is a great story. I mean, he talked about how he thought he was done. He was looking to play in Europe. And then what do you know? 850 games in the NHL later, 3 Stanley Cups. And it's funny he mentioned the fighting. That wasn't something that came naturally to him, because I remember watching, the NHL in the early 2020s, where he was like seen as one of the tougher guys in the league. And he could score too. He could pitch in offensively. So great to chat with him. He's doing a bunch of TV stuff for the Lightning and for NHL Network. But thanks to Pat Maroon for coming on. Nash, or anything else before I schedule my next tee time here?
No, buddy. Just stop playing Army golf. All right, left, right, left. You're all over the place. All right, and give me an invite, would you? I mean, I'll fly up there and spank it around with you. So
I would love that. We playing skins?
What's that? No shirts?
Yeah, you're playing skins right now.
Tarps are optional in my world, buddy. It's summertime, baby. Let's go. Let's go. So
can't wait. We got a bunch of great stuff coming up over the summer, so stay tuned. Mammoth season may be over, but the NASHCAST rolls on. So we'll be with you every week. That's the plan moving forward. So Tyson, enjoy the sun, my man. I'm going to work on my tan as well and keep hitting the links.
Foltz, you bet, buddy. Thanks. Hope everyone enjoyed it. And as usual, follow along on all our socials. We are starting to buzz. We're picking up speed. 7,200 followers and growing fast, Foltz. Everyone loved that Tony Twist story too, by the way. So that was, we knocked that one out of the park, brother. So anyway, enjoy. Thank you, everybody.